Okay, so went to Walker Evans, picked up the rebuilt rear shocks, and they do a pretty good job. This hose, I don't know if it's new, but it was completely covered in dust or dirt and all kinds of, because I think what happens is it gets hot and then the dust just kind of sticks to it. But they cleaned up pretty much everything on these shocks. And they're supposed to refill it with nitrogen and new seals. So this is looking pretty good. I'm gonna throw them back in the car and then yeah, lower back down. Everything else looks pretty good. I got new nylock nuts for the bolts here. I didn't get new bolts. I found a kit that you can buy on Amazon from Combustion with a K Motorsport, that makes it so this bolt has a wider shoulder. But you know, this is the stock bolt. It's 10.9. You know, Polaris thinks it's good. Who knows? Maybe they just put it in there because that was the available bolt at the time and they didn't think about it. But I'm going to leave that for now and just replace the nuts with new nuts and call it a day. And then we'll see how it fares for one more race. And then after that, I might kind of rebuild a lot of the stuff in the rear suspension because it does, you know, it takes a beating. So yeah, I will. Looks like all I've got to do, you know, is do the reverse of what I did to put it in, which is pretty easy. Just put in the top bolt first and then the bottom, and snake the reservoir hose and reservoir back up through this hole here and then back up into the clamp, and that's good to go. So yeah, just that simple. So I got the shocks back in. Fairly simple, really, to put them in. A little bit of pressure up on the trailing arm here, and then top bolt went in easy. At bottom bolt went in with that little bit of pressure, and then routed the hoses up to the reservoir here, all looking pretty good. I did notice that there's a little bit of play in this bearing, or there's rod end in this radius arm here, which I'm not too happy about, but you know, we'll see. Bolts, torque wise, 70 foot-pounds. I checked spec in the manual, and so I torqued those, and so everything should be good to go. It's fairly simple. And I'm just doing some other prep because there is a race that I'm gonna race this weekend. It's a 5-lap 22-mile loop race, so 5 22-mile laps. I'm gonna try to mount this. I used to have my jack mounted here, but it got loose and it swung down, and I don't want it to hit the reservoir or get anywhere near it. So what I'm gonna try to do is mount this Milwaukee pack out and put tools and stuff in here. I seen on somebody else's razor, they put the plate that you need, you know, that snaps into. They put a plate like that in the top of the razor there. And then I've got new number plates for the side. I made a skid plate for the front because this was the number plate that was on the front, but it got bashed in. So I don't know if I really need a skid plate, but we'll see. I might put just the number plate back on. And then I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna check everything and just do a little bit of prep. Make sure there's nothing else that I missed, maybe grease. I wanna check there's a carrier bearing that runs for the 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive prop shaft. And I wanna check that because there is like an all-wheel drive vibration in this car that you know, seems to be getting worse. So I want to check that. There's a little bit of play in the joint over here. Not a lot, but you can see that little bit of play there. And so I'm going to grease that and see if that takes care of it. But yeah, that's it for now. Just getting ready for the race and do another update after that. Okay, so got the initial race prep done. I'll just go over kind of a bunch of the things that I went and I looked at and I looked over and things like that. Starting with the front here, I made this skid plate 3/6 inch thick. That should add a little bit of protection to the front there, and then put the number plate on that. Put some nutserts behind it so it attaches it to the front bumper. One of the things that I noticed by just doing an inspection of everything is that these inner shafts for the all-wheel drive system, especially this one over here, is really loose. I don't know if that matters or not. I don't know what is too loose, what is not. I don't know. I also took a look at the prop shaft bearing, like I was saying, going to the front one underneath. There's like a little inspection hole. Looked at it. The rubber's in good condition. It moves a little bit, but not that much. But I also noticed that like this one moves a pretty good amount too. So, you know, are those going to go out? I don't know. This is all kind of a question to me. It's sitting down on its wheels. You know, when I go up and down with the car, it doesn't, I don't hear any crazy noises, right? So that's a good sign. You know, I've also, I've looked over the whole thing. I greased up the shaft, the U-joint down there, which that U-joint wiggles a little bit too. So these are all things I think just to take note of. Good for race prep. Who knows? I'll give it like another, you know, update when I'm done. Maybe I'll put it on this video as well. So this will be like the beginning, what I've done before the race. And then after 5 22-mile laps, you know, what do we see? Well, you know, we'll have to check it out. So yeah, that's it for now. Race is tomorrow. And we'll see how it goes. So here we go. All right, here we are, Plaster City East for the last race of the season, the Christmas Classic. We got the 2015 Polaris RZR XP4 1000, completely stock, fresh rebuilt shocks from Walker Evans Racing in there. We got a different number this time because we're going to race in Pro Stock, which is probably a more competitive class for us. And then made a skid plate for the front. That way when I put it on its nose, it has a little bit more to sit on. But we're ready for another race and see, we'll see how it goes this time. 5 laps, 22-mile laps. We're going to take it easy. We want to finish more than anything else. All right, so just finished 84 miles, 4 laps. During it, I probably had one of my best passes that I've had, where I was coming up on a 200 car and catching them right before this wash. Got into a wash. It was real dusty. And going through the wash, I remember there was a spot where it kind of split into 2. And I remember seeing it that was flatter when you would go up, but I didn't know where it was going to converge. So I was catching them so good that I was like, I'm just going to take that line. So I went to the left at the fork and I just pinned it and I got just ahead of them as it converged back together. And then there's this part where you go through a bridge, and when it went through the bridge, there's 2 lines there as well. And I took this high line, but I had to go real slow because the bridge was real shallow at that point. But right after that was this wide open section. So as soon as we got to that section, I just pinned it. I think they pinned it too, and we just went for it. And eventually just kept ahead of them, and then just kept seeing their light get farther and farther and farther behind me. So probably one of my better off-road passes that I've had. Hopefully I got it on GoPro. If not, at least I have it